I want to get everyone's thoughts on this. And we know that Queen Elizabeth has ended her reign. I believe she was 96 years old and passed on early September, September the 10th. Was that the day? No, it was earlier in the week.
2 days ago? 3 days ago?
3 days ago would make it through 9/11.
Queen's dead.
Not my queen.
Sorry to break it to you, Terry. So we all knew about that. I mean, the whole world knew. So a couple of things that I wanted to get into are part one, the ramifications. I definitely want to hear from Terry on this one of your thoughts for what that could mean for the UK, but also the group. What do you think that this could potentially mean in the New World Order context? I believe that it's well established that he's friends with Klaus Schwab. He has there's video of him suggesting a military style campaign to sort of work on some of the sustainability measures that they discuss from the World Economic Forum and those ilk. So we have that issue of it. I want to hear from you. The other thing I wanted to touch base on was the fact that there have been instances of people either holding up a sign or heckling at the proceedings, and then hearing that they were arrested, that they were forcibly removed from the crowd and that they were arrested for that. And I thought that that was very interesting. And then the third issue surrounding this that I wanted to touch on was the fact that there's sort of a hot debate. You know, you have a lot of it surprised me of people in the liberty community that were, mourning. There were people that were, they were upset at people being disrespectful. And so I just kind of wanted to talk to the group about that. So
I'd say my feelings is that I've been marked safe from caring about the Queen and the royal family in 1776.
Love it.
It's like, I don't know. It's just another rich elite that's, rules over everyone else and, robs, steals, and rapes and murders, everyone else. So I would say I'm kind of glad she's dead, but I don't think anyone better is taking her place.
I would agree with that.
Can't argue with any of that. I'm not really plugged into the royals that much. You won't be surprised to hear. My first thought was that I was really glad that I wasn't still in the UK, because I remember how crazy people were when Diana died, or possibly was killed. I don't know how you look at it. And people were like mourning over this woman that they hadn't met and treating her like some sort of saint, which she definitely wasn't.
She was at least hot.
So I'd imagine the same thing's done with the Queen. She was quite hot, yes. But Charles is very unpopular in Britain, much more unpopular than the Queen ever was. And
interesting.
So it was widely thought that it might go straight to William. They might sort of bypass Charles because he's really old anyway. He's like 73 or something.
Yep.
So, and you're right. He's very plugged into the globalism thing. He's very big on the climate change crap, and he's a good friend of Klaus Schwab, like you said. So, the question is how influential these royals really are. And some people think they're right at the top of of all the lizard people.
The pyramid, yeah.
I'm not so sure myself. I like to think of them as a sort of middle-level lizard person, like Bill Gates, perhaps.
Right.
I still think people like the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers might be right at the top. And is it what you were saying about people getting arrested? I did see some stories about that as well. I saw this woman who owns a fish and chip shop, and she had a sign. She put up a sign in the shop saying something like, "The Lizard Queen is dead." And she got into, I don't know if she got arrested, but she certainly got a lot of hostility from people about it. And you are quite right in that people go a bit crazy about the royals, even in America, which really surprised me. There are people getting very upset of saying, I'm glad the Queen's dead. She would never she never did anything good for me, and people just sort of losing their skulls over it. It just seems crazy, really. So that's my thoughts.
Yet when I got home from work that day that Queen died, I came home and I sung to my wife, "The Wicked Witch is dead," but I changed out with "The Wicked Queen is dead." She wasn't happy with it, but she's also a much kinder person than I am.
Clever.
Well, there was apparently Irish Twitter went a bit crazy after that, and there was a video online of an entire stadium chanting with their Irish accent. I won't try to repeat it, but basically, Lizzie's in a box, Lizzie's in a box. And I
Wow.
was kind of jammed to
Good.
that. I'm no Queen Elizabeth apologist. I want people to know that what I'm about to say, is only scratching the surface. But we have her son who was implicated in the Jeffrey Epstein sex scandal. And that is not only with accusers saying that they were involved with him, but they have an actual picture. It was Virginia Giuffre who said that she was trafficked to him when she was 17 years old. And of course, everybody knows, like, he had a terrible interview. I think it was with the BBC, and he claimed that he couldn't sweat, and that was evidence that he wasn't with her. It was a total lie. And then she was able to bring a case against him, and it was over $10 million payout. I feel like it might have even been 22 million or something like that she was paid basically to make this go away. So the Queen protected him for that. And then we also know about the royal connection to Jimmy Savile, and we know that he was accused by over 500 people of pedophilia. And so people who are like butthurt over people being glad that the Queen passed, I think that you're unreasonable, especially if you're somebody that cares about liberty. Okay, these people are the ultimate above the law people. It's absolutely ridiculous, and they are as corrupt as they come.
Well, England hasn't. They don't care. There's no free speech in England. They don't care about liberty. Y'all remember when they arrested Count Dankula for teaching his girlfriend's pug to do a Nazi salute? Most hilarious thing you'll ever see. He went to jail. Free speech is not a thing there.
Is it really not, Terry? Free speech is not protected?
Well, there's a sort of tradition of free speech. They have this thing in a famous park in London, Speaker's Corner, where you're supposed to be able to go out and say whatever you like, really. But recently, there have been quite a lot of people, particularly there were a few scientists arrested for standing up and giving a speech saying this is all a load of nonsense. And some of them were arrested. I don't think they were ever charged with anything, because I don't think there's a specific law you can say that they were breaking, but that doesn't stop the police carting you off. So they do that from time to time.